Oh yeah. Let me just check this again. What is going on, everyone? I know you folks are going to jump in there, take a little bit of time. Yeah, you're so used to me being on at 4 o'clock that I pretty much put a wrench in everything. Oh, so let's see what we got here. Let's make sure everything is working. Let me see. There's live there. Make sure this is right. Okay, that's good. Oh yeah. Oh, let me just check this bad boy out. Josh D's in there. What's going on, Josh D? Mimi Reactions in there. Riccardo Petrazzi. What's going on there, Riccardo? Enrico Viglione. What's going on? Good to see you in there. Mr. Mike Knapp's in the house. What's going on, Mike? Third Eye Opens in there. Let's see. Yeah, Josh D's had commented some photo stuff on. Yeah, I did. I seen that just before I jumped on here. Oh yeah. 5x5. All right, Ricardo, I appreciate you. Great for all's in there. Let me let's put my mug in there. I mean, yeah. Let's see here. That's a little better. There's Claire Meads in there. Long Island, New York. What's going on? Good to see you in there, man. Planetary Protectors in there. Good afternoon, everyone, he says, or they say. Mr. Pete Ferrero's in there. Eric Bauer's in there. What's going on, Eric? Adam's in there. What's going on, Adam? Elaine Millard's in there. Hey, Elaine. Mr. John Sharp. Let's see. Eric Gower. Chris, you are right. Odyssey photos way better. I was going to say that. I was hoping you'd jump on there because I was going to say, didn't you? When you looked at it, it looks much better. Not in compressed. That's what you said in the comment. Where it didn't look nearly as compressed as YouTube. It just looks better, right? It's crazy. That's why I kind of tell people, go up there, man. You can still see it. It's still linked to my channel. The only difference is you don't see the compression artifacts. It just looks clearer. It just looks better. Especially when you get an awesome photo like the moon one we just did, even the Mars one I just knocked out just before going on live. Yeah, I mean, when you see it clear, it's just better. You know what I mean? See some details. Just even if it's 20% better, it's still better. Period. Right? And I think it's better than that. I think it's like, I'm guessing 30, 40%, maybe 40 stretching, but 30% I can see. It's definitely better. Mr. Kyle Harvey, what's going on? Good to see you there, man. Oh, and the photo that you analyzed today, you also forgot to mention that the camera is taking awful pictures. Well, yeah, that's a given, right? It's just like El Krapsky. That's, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I wasn't, when you see these photos right off the bat, they're like low res, they're garbage. They don't seem to be too bad near the rover, but if you go outward, because like I said, when you look at a lot of these photos, you can see like, if you look really good, there's actually a change in the what's the word I'm looking for? The texture itself on the ground. It looks pretty much normal, not bad, and then in the background, it seems like there's like a different texture altogether, and there's a line. It's not a gradual kind of thing, it's just a line period, right? You're like, okay, so clearly I can see something's in the background here, and when you zoom into that background, you can see stuff like breaking apart, and then you can see like the same texture, but they can put over like something that looks square, but it's put over it. It's just weird. And once you train your eyes to see that, you can just instantly look at a photo and just know that it's been messed with, right? Renee V says hello and to me and gang. What's going on, Renee V? Good to see you there. Yeah, Kyle, you're right about that. The cameras suck. Brian Hayes, what's going on, Brian? Live long and prosper. Let me see. I'm not sure what happened to your comment, Adam, but it says message retracted. I don't know why it does that. I haven't checked, Eric, because your question was, can you stream from Odyssey? I haven't checked. I'm sure you can because this video is put up there. Now, I don't know if the majority are from their own YouTube channels, right? Because when you sign up to that, you can either import. So, yeah, I believe you can. Because you can either import or just make your own videos, just put them up there, right? So that's pretty much it. So I believe you can actually do the same thing you do here on YouTube. You can just make your own and just put it on there, right? So I don't know. I don't know. You should be able to stream. I haven't tried it, but I know there are. If you go on some of these videos, it'll say live stream at that moment. So clearly you can. I was just thinking about that when you said that. It's like, well, you can put the videos up there independently, so why couldn't you stream? In other words, you don't have to have them connected to YouTube, right? John, what are you talking about? Chris, will you show yourself? I'm a little confused, but okay. Care to elaborate? I am. Here I am. Let's see. Mimi Reaction said, Chris, your Mars Sun video was great. Yeah, I mean, you can't help but to question some of those. You know, people say, well, the sun's going to be dimmer. It's going to be smaller because it's obviously farther away than the Earth is. So, and when you calculate, okay, that's so many more miles, you know, from Earth to Mars, and of course from there to the sun, how is it that bright right there in the sky? I think what they do is they put that there so you know it's, you know, they claim, well, at that time it was supposed to be what, evening. So it's going towards sunset. So I believe it was like 4:36 or whatever it was. But what I find interesting is that the way it's like this bright object, we're going to assume it's the sun, but it's completely dark, and I'm going, why would it be that dark if the sun is that, like, blazing out of the corner there? I mean, it's just weird. It's like a contradictive photo, right? Really weird. MG Toe, what's going on? That thing just bounced on me, so now I gotta try to find you again. I was literally just moving it down a little bit and then see ya. It just took off. What's going on, Cameron? Good to see you in there, man. I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well. Great for All says, fake a rover tracks. What will they think of next? Believe it or not, it's not the first time I've seen that either. That's the reason why I questioned it, and if you guys have noticed the same, you'd either disagree or agree, but that's why I wanted you to get you to center your eyes on and just have a look. And when you see these objects, like I question, are they rolling over these things? Or are they just fake tracks? Or are they looking at these things and then rolling over? Whatever. It's crazy. MG Toe says, hi all, I just watched your last video. Was it purposeful that the rover went over the object? See, that's what I'm questioning. I don't know. I really don't. I wish I knew the answer to that, but I've seen this many times where, again, what I said in the video was, if the rover's moving, you're not going to think to look for objects there. You're going to think, oh, well, you know, clearly there's nothing there. They're just rover tracks. They're just roving. It's just moving. But if you were to put fake tracks there, then it covers up the item, and you'd have that same thought process. Like, there's no way they would have ran over that. Think about it. So I'm more apt to believe that those are fake tracks. Now, I'm not saying that the back ones couldn't be real. Maybe it went around and stopped there and then went back around. I don't know. But it's only speculation at that point. But, you know, I've seen this more than once, so it wouldn't surprise me, right? Simo or Simo. That would be Simo, right? What's going on? I don't know what happened to yours either. It says message retracted. What's going on there, Kurt Abanis? Albanus? I don't know which one you'd rather have than want me to use. Long Island, New York says Ancient Aliens on my TV. Mars Anomaly stream on my phone. Oh, he's watching both of them at the same time. Sweet. I remember back in the day when I had this Panasonic, it was one of the top of the line TVs you can get. It was like $1,300 at the time. It was a tube set. It was like 36-inch TV. And it had picture-in-picture, had a subwoofer built into this thing, it had everything. So you could sit there and if you really wanted, you could split the screen and put a picture in the picture. And these flat screens, I don't know why they don't do that. They should do it to these flat screen big TVs now. I mean, heck, you pay enough money for some of these things, right? Like the QLEDs and all of these other ones. Oh, and a bottle of liquor on my lap. That pretty much completes it. Kenneth, what's going on? He said, it's not the strongest of the species that survives, but the most adaptable. Hello from Denmark. True comment. And hello. And Jim L., what's going on? He said, hello, Chris. What's going on, Jim? Venus de Pablo, what's going on? He said, hi, Chris and everyone. A great last moon video was great. I think that they are mining for minerals. That's why our technology has advanced quickly since the 1960s. I think it's China, U.S., and Russians. It could very well be. You know, like I said, there's a lot of times when you, even though they said it was a great space race, and I believe that it was, but not just to simply get out into orbit, right? Because we know that the Soviet Union put out the Sputnik, or Sputnik, depending on how you want to pronounce it. So they were the first to put an object out there. But was that their real trial? I think they did that so you can say, okay, we can get our rockets, we can get something out into space. Now what's the next step? So they were basically testing the rocket, not so much the satellite. Now, I'm not saying they weren't doing any test with this Sputnik, but the real test was probably to try to get something, you know, get it out into orbit, it orbits and everything else. And okay, we got that stage set. So now we need to see if we can go further. And that's what that was all about. I think they saw something on this moon, and on the other side, obviously if you're sending, you know, orbiters around the moon, then you clearly seen something there, and that's pretty much it. I mean, you just want to get there now, because you know the one that gets there first, it gets all the stuff, it gets the prizes, and it's top dog, right? There you go. And when we were talking about SpaceX basically slamming the rocket into the moon, you know, a couple of you guys said before about, well, they're probably going to try to hit China's, you know, rover. I don't think that may be the case. I think what it is they're afraid. Think about this. If you're the United States, and we know they've come so far in technology and everything else, and they're just, I mean, perpetual, boom, 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 constantly. Want to build space stations, fake moons, the whole 9 yards, right? So if you were here in the States, well, any of the countries, it don't really matter. You can be in your country. And you're saying, okay, if they get this technology that we know is on the far side of the moon, they'll become superior. What's the best way to do it? Well, don't bomb their rover, but how about we bomb the structures that they're trying to get the stuff out of? That would make more sense. So, because obviously you'll start a war with that. But if you bomb the cities that this thing's going towards, or they plan to do another landing towards that area, we can just get rid of the evidence. And even if we can't get rid of it all, we can at least demolish it. Even if it's just laying in ruins, who cares? The point is, we can get rid of it. And that's what it's all about. That's what I believe it is. Okay, you said, Chris, I did a typo when I removed it, LOL, but great videos last couple. I appreciate it. It's just, sometimes I can literally watch somebody make a comment, and it'll be going down, I'm just ready to read it, and it'll go, comments been retracted. I'm like, what is going on here? So that's why I questioned it. And sometimes people go, I don't know why my comment just disappeared. It'll literally disappear in front of me. So, yeah. Dog Creek Customs, Chris, what green screen software do you use to cut out your background? Well, I mean, you can see it's not 100%, but it does work okay. It's actually, let me see. I'll think of it in a moment. Actually, I'll tell you, what is it right here? You can see it right here. It's a Nvidia Broadcast, and you can put it with your, if you got Nvidia, because this is a gaming computer, right? So the GPU, and this works in conjunction with that. So it works along with what is that? Oh, anyway, so it works along with the Streamlabs as well. So it actually works hand in hand, and it actually has its own, like you know, green screen kind of thing, right? Mike Nav, I'm not sure what that means. He said this week has flowers by. What's going on there, Mr. Bush Corey? And Gaz says, hey, Chris, buddy. Hi, all. Happy Friday. That's cool. Bush Corey, I hope you're doing well. Sean Sharp, have a beer. Oh, yeah. Mimi Reacts, there you go. Yeah, an artificial sun, maybe. Kind of hard to tell with these guys. And like I said, that would be the reason. And like you said, you guys pretty much hit it on the head last time because we were talking about that, where you said they're probably trying to hit their basically their lunar rover or whatever their well, it's basically a rover, right? And it kind of makes sense, but I don't think I'd actually bomb it. Now, whatever, if it's got its eyes set on a certain thing, then that makes sense. But since we've already looked at between the Chang'e 3, the Chang'e 4, or Chang, depending how you want to pronounce it, we know from the very first photos, folks, that you could see that they were literally, it was awful. Let's just put it that way. It was piss poor. Whereas complete fog, the manipulation was insane. It really was, what's the word I'm looking for? Very unprofessional. I mean, it was bad. And I go, guys, and I think I did a video on that. I'm going, look how piss poor this is right now. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. The thing just jumped on me again, but that's okay. We wanted to go down to the bottom. If anybody else left a comment or question, please do so. Again, if you don't mind, and I'll answer it, whatever. Kyle Harvey, thank you for your support. As always, always a big supporter of the channel. He said, and the speed of light is not the speed limit of the universe. The speed of light is faster than the speed of... Well, that's what they claim, too. I know I've been trying to put all that together because, you know, the way they describe it, and of course, who was just saying this, too? Now that you mention it, there's something I saw on, I believe it was Twitter, I think it was. It was one of these pages where they've figured a way to actually make a warp drive. Now, obviously, we know what a warp drive is. You can literally bend time and space, right? So you can literally, if you're here and here, you can just bend it and like just make like a warp field in front of you, kind of like Star Trek, if you will, only it's becoming reality. And you can actually bend space and time, and you can get from point A to point B almost instantaneous, as opposed to, it's only 400,000 light years. We should be there dead. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. So they're literally, you know, guys, leaps and bounds. Now, how many of you folks believe that they've already done this? I mean, but now it's becoming reality. We don't know if the military has done this, but yet now other companies are now, maybe it's real, meaning they're coming, their plans are coming to fruition where they're going, yes, we finally did it, but yet the military might have already done that. But yet they're telling the public, these other companies, saying, we've finally done it, we think we've got it. So, yeah. Alfie Joe Bob, what's going on? Good to see you there. Oh, that's not good. I just seen somebody else saying, I hope it ain't that bad, get well soon. Yeah, believe me, I've been there, done that, so yeah. Definitely take care of yourself, and I hope you guys don't have any issues with that. Oops. I hate when I do that. Move that instead. Daniel Lee, what's happening? He said, good evening. All hope you're okay, Chris. I'm doing well, Daniel. I hope you're doing well as well. Good to have you in there, man. Simo, is that pronounced? Am I pronouncing it correctly? If not, just let me know. I hate to butcher anybody's name. As simple as it, or long as it's short as it could be, it doesn't matter. Chris, I think also some point of our timeline, we have been contact on the moon and Mars too. We have lost that knowledge. It's the same thing I've been saying all this time, right? Where maybe at some point, thousands of years ago, that we had the knowledge, like you're saying we forgot it now, or we've had forgotten, it's a forgotten knowledge, that we might have already done that. So is it possible that both planets were alive back then, meaning Mars was completely fine, civilization thriving or whatever? I don't care if the beings are this big or 15 feet tall. What difference does it make? The point is, we might have coexisted at one time and we could go back and forth. Then, we were still alive on this planet, and then they knew there was a pending doom on Mars and decided to jump here. And of course, we are what we are today. And then all of a sudden, we've had our own, problems where, whether it be a rock from outer space hitting us in 65 million years ago. Of course, that goes way back. But other incidences too, other catastrophic events. So, and then of course, everybody perished at that point and almost killed off the whole human population. But then as the years go by, thousands of years, because again, if you're knocked backwards, how do you build everything back up? Because not everybody's going to make it through. Let's say they're unaware that this happens, and this goes back thousands of years ago. How would they know this? If they had the technology, maybe they would. But if they didn't know this pending doom was coming and it pretty much killed off almost everybody, they didn't have a chance to hide, it'd be people like you and I. How many of us are in this room? I know not for me. I'm not an astrophysicist or some kind of, scientist and stuff like that. How many of you guys are? So if that was to happen today, could we start population back again? And I'm not saying growing the population. I'm saying as far as technologically, could we do that? I don't think we could. And if it did, it would be a very, very slow process. Even if we knew it on ahead. Well, we used to have radio and everything. Okay, can you build a new one? Can you get it to function again? Can you get the power plant to make batteries for it? Can you fire up this power station again and get everything working so you can start to recreate? Can you run machinery to dig up, different things? I mean, it's just weird, right? Could you get it started? It would probably take thousands upon thousands of years ago, or I should say thousands of years to go in order to get to the point where we're at now, or even more, meaning more technologically advanced. So I don't know. It would be interesting if you can actually go back in a time machine and find this out, if that was the case. Or you could actually jump, like I said, and go back in time a little bit and then go back to Mars and see what was going on, if that was such a thing. Lusta, what's going on? Good to have you in there, man. Oh, Renee V, yeah, I actually have that tab open. He said, have you read or heard before the ISS crashes, will it first get a visit from Tom Cruise, certainly for a new movie? Yeah, I mean, just the fact that they're going to dump this thing, right? It's supposed to be in, what, 2031, I believe? Can you imagine, folks, have any of you have watched the movie, and I've been binging on this thing, The 100? Has any of you seen that? Really, really good. It's the first thing I thought of, because I've been watching this for the past, it hasn't been that long, maybe 3 or 4 days, right? And we're only in the second season. I think it was episode 10, if I'm not mistaken. And it's what it reminds me of. If you think about it, if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about in relation to the ISS. And they plan to drop it in the drink in 2031, right in the ocean, right? Have any of you seen that? The 100 is what it's called. Really, really good movie. What's going on there, flux capacitor 72 Monty? What's happening? Stands to reason we already got that far. Side tech decades ago, when space program was dormant pre-shuttle. I first thought that the rocket is going to destroy what China is about to find. Yeah. Yep. Let me see. Did I miss something on there? It's way to jump, I guess. Josh D said, yes, great movie. Yeah, Mags K, good to see you in there, by the way. Yeah, you got to watch it. Dan Martin. So you know what I'm saying, because they had the Ark, right? What happened to it? Now, I don't know if you guys are that far into it, whatever, but really good movie. Like I said, I'm at that point, I'm past that part where they're talking and they're getting together with the grounders, and that's what they call them, grounders. And what was the other one? Reapers. They got Reapers, grounders. They were the sky people. And then there was, I think they call them tree people, if I'm not mistaken. So, really, really good show. And I don't know how many, I'm trying to remember if I can remember what it was, how many there were. But I think there's a few seasons. And there's more than a few episodes in each. So, really, really good show. Oh, Ricardo, you said it's 100 series is new to you. Okay. Kyle Harvey said 1979, movie called Time After Time. It was actually pretty good. I recommend that movie for you guys if you have not seen it. Why does it sound familiar? Time After Time. Was it like a time machine type thing? I'm trying to remember if I'm remembering that correctly. I don't know. Okay, he said I haven't seen that movie, but I have thought about buying it. Let's see. Yeah, Ricardo, basically, he said the 100, another nuclear apocalypse show. And it's pretty good, though, you have to admit, if you have seen it. Or you said you haven't really checked it out, but if you do, really good movie. It's kind of like something that would happen here on Earth, again, if we had done it to ourselves. Picture a Mars thing, where had a couple of those large explosions. Now we're going down there to see what's left. Well, it's our own people from our own planet up in this ark for 100 years, decide to come back down. Of course, they send prisoners down there to, and this is just to help people along to give you an idea what the show is. They send prisoners down in there so they can seek out if there's any nuclear levels down there. That's either the planet is habitable now or it's not. So basically, they're saying, well, tough crap. You go down there and you die. Oh well, we won't hear nothing back from you. So, but it's still a cool show to watch. It's different, but it's cool at the same time. Yes, Dan, it's on Netflix. Yep. IRL Film, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Equalizer just jumped in there as well. What's going on, Equalizer? I said, hi, hello all. A bit late. I can't really see this thing. I don't know why this thing is giving me crap here. Oops. Love it when it does that. Hello all. A bit late, but here. Well, you're fine, man. We just started not long ago. So good to have you in there. It's a series, Ricardo. Yep. Get it on, like I said, Netflix. Really good show. It's called The 100. General Meow Putin, what's going on? What is up, fellow aliens in we're doing well. I hope you're doing good. Yeah, it is interesting, Mimi. You need to check it out. It's pretty cool. Yeah, Mike, that was actually, I think I've seen parts of the very first one, because I think there's two of those, isn't there? Two parts of that movie. He said, I seen the trailer from Iron Sky earlier. It looks brilliant. I seen parts of it. It was really weird. It was kind of like, I don't even know how to, it's like steampunk, but just a weird flavor to it. It was just weird. So it's kind of like you got to get into that kind of thing. It's bizarre, but it looked good from what I saw of it. What's going on, Mr. Steve Garnham? Good to see you there. He said, in Ice Nation, Chris. Pete Ferrero says, well, this thing just jumped at me as soon as it did that. Oh, where did it go? They just jumped at me that much? It just really jumped on me here. Oh. Quesadoo. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, maybe not. Hey, Chris, what's happening? Yo, Terrence, what's up? What's going on? Good to see you in there. Mr. Jean Ward's in the house? Oh, cool, Jean. You say I just wrote a foreword for George Haas's new book. It's going to be awesome. Yeah, I like George. He's pretty cool. Tampy girl, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Okay, Kyle, yeah, he said, yes, it's a time machine, and I had H.G. Wells and Jack the Ripper was in it. Okay, okay. It's been a while. That movie's been out for quite a long time. Gerdabanus, he said, humans will reach Alpha Centauri in 2061, if they already haven't. John Sharp, you got to check it out then. You said never seen 100. Check it out. There it is. Pete Ferreri says, spares in Germany were dated at 300,000 years. Plenty of time to develop based on human development the last 17,000. Oh, yeah, absolutely. General Meowput. Cats are aliens. Shh, don't tell my cat. She's laying in the bed over here. Shh. She might take offense to that. Let me see. Again, Kyle, thank you very much for your support, man. He said, time after time, I watched yesterday, it had H.G. Wells was hunting down Jack the Ripper. It was pretty good. Yeah, if I remember that, it's actually a pretty good show. In ancient times, it was known as Israel used to mean Saturn. Okay. Yeah, it was. Eric Gower, you said, yes, it was a TV show too, of course. Yeah, I remember that, but see, I never watched it then. It was like the, what was the other one too? Is the, was it the 400 or, what? No, 4400. Just like that one there. That one came out in what, early 2000s? And I just happened to be going through some shows. I said, I'll just check it out. That was a pretty good show. Pretty good stuff. Empty Girl says, sips Fireball whiskey and enjoys the chat. Well, there you go. Nothing wrong with that. Just kick your feet up, relax a little bit. Yes, Nathan. That's coming out today, in fact. That's the, she's coming out today. Nathan Bond says, hey, Chris, have you seen trailers for the film Moonfall? Yes, and it looks phenomenal. In fact, they talk about it. I think it's on, and I have it on here. I think it's space.com. Where they talk about, if you go into this like space news, I think it's, let me see, where they were inspired on some of these. Let me see if it was down here. Right here. Making Moonfall, geophysicist Mike McKinnon talks about the fun of annihilating Earth in the fictional disaster film. But there was also, somebody else had said something on here about that. No, it wasn't there. Let me go back. I think it was on the first page, because I think this is the second. See, Moonfall filmmakers saved NASA shuttle simulator, now in museum. So they used, I think, that power that shows the, I forget which one it was, what shuttle it was, but they were coming down the main street in the actual Moonfall. I'm going to call ad whatever, but it literally shows them walking with it, and I think they used parts of that from another show or one of the actual real when they were actually moving the shuttle itself. Yeah, right here. Moonfall pulls scenes from the Space Shuttle Endeavour, that's what it was, moved 10 years ago. So they must have taken that somehow, piece of that, and brought it to life. Hollywood has finally taken inspiration from the decade ago, move of the NASA Space Shuttle through the streets of Los Angeles, and it only took the moon falling out of the sky for it to happen. Yeah, so pretty cool. Yeah. Hey, it's Bill Nye the Lion Guy. NASA prepares for a moon's dark south pole and eerie lights out spacewalk. Woo! This is pretty funky though. It looks pretty ominous if you look at it. It's like, oh god. Oh yeah. All you see is a pair of eyeballs like showing up here on the right hand side. That's like, we're dead. That wouldn't be good, would it? That would not be good. Let me see. I had the screen pretty damn big. I want to bring that down a little bit so you guys can see that. But like I said, they're using, you know, some of these, which is pretty cool. Some spots from that, from real stuff, like the Endeavor and stuff like that. I think that's pretty sweet. Yeah, I would have liked to go and seen that tonight, but I actually have something else to do. I actually got to go to the mall to get one of those, get some of those seats you can get for like spectators and stuff like that. Because we got my son's, competing tomorrow, so we need something that's going to be like, okay, after a while your butt's sore on these, the bleachers at schools and stuff, and it's like, yeah, I need to get something we can sit on instead of like, walking around with your ass is numb. I hate when that happens. Kyle Harvey said special effects were a little cheesy. A little bit. But, I mean, you got to remember, it's back in 79, right? So, at least that particular one you're talking about. The special effects in that movie was kind of funny because it was from 1979, but the storyline was really good. Yeah. I mean, for then, it was probably cutting edge, if you will. But, yeah. You look at it now, you go, wow. Yeah, Nathan, yeah, you're right. You said, hello, guys. Ain't been on here for a while. No, you haven't, but I'm glad to have you back, though. Explanation, you said they live with Rowdy Piper. Could be some truth in that movie. Who knows? Yeah? Yep. That's another old one. I think it was back in the 80s, isn't it? Dan Martin, you said they have been cities found on the moon Europa. I haven't seen that. Somebody else already find that? Because I've been looking around at the different moons and stuff like that, so that's why I said I got some more pretty cool stuff coming up. But, yeah, it'd be interesting to see. He said they try to make this country copy Mars. The pyramids and all of the symbolism is subliminally associated in Egypt with Mars. Yeah, well, yeah, most definitely. And they see there's a lot of, well, if you go to like where you got the Giza Plateau, and plus you have, let's see, well, there's a couple other things too that people have found on Mars, like the Ankh from like Egypt. But if you go to like the face on Mars, and of course they got the city they claim, it's the way it's set up, and got the what looks like pyramids and stuff like that, and so there's a lot of things that are very similar to what we got on Earth as they do on Mars. So it's pretty cool. Which would be what, the Cydonia region, but yeah. Martin Lucas, he said, evening all, got here on time this week. Yes, you did. I said, we started only about a half hour ago this time because I was actually, we had an ice storm and stuff like that here. So I took the wife into work, and like I said, she's not a big fan of driving in that kind of crappy weather. Me, I don't care. I don't care if it's a foot. I'll still try to drive in it, even with a regular car. Now, if I had my SUV still, I wouldn't care. Like I said, I think last big storm we had when I lived in Rhode Island was like 18 inches of snow. I just went, full high. Pull right out, no shoveling. I didn't even bother. Love it. Ricardo Bertraldi said District 9 was a good film. Yes, it was. That was actually pretty funky. Simo, he said, Chris, when the first human step on the surface of Mars, what will be she or he first words? Probably good God or holy shit. I mean, yeah, I mean, and unless, of course, you're talking about the first humans as the first ones that are supposed to colonize, which are supposed to be scientists and doctors and all stuff, the first ones, right? They've probably already been debriefed. They already know what's going to be on there. But if you're talking about a real civilization, like they said, oh, you and I can now go up, I'm sure you'll be in an area where you won't see any of this. You can almost bet on it. And they'll be like, well, you can't go outside because, you'll die there. And of course, you'll never be able to wander off and go see anything. So you'll be stuck in that one area. But at some point, this is going to come out. That's all there is to it. It just has to come out. It's one thing to make a civilization on there. But again, why are they there to begin with? They're there for a reason, right? So me personally, I think, they're going to get all the information they need. And if you're going to start a colony anywhere, it's going to be in an area where you're not going to see any of this stuff. It'll be remotely, again, in some area where you won't see any of that. And like I said, you won't be able to wander off because they won't want you to do that because then you will see the truth. But I think at some point they will say, yeah, you know what, of course it'll be who knows how long. They'll be like, well, we stumbled on this, which looks like an artifact that was man-made or somehow intelligently made. And, of course, it's going to be like it's going to have to work up from microbial life right now, not fossilized. And then maybe there'll be some organics. They'll say, oh, we found some of this. It's just hidden under rocks or whatever, or in between rocks. We never noticed it. And it'll work themselves up. That's what it'll be. It'll just work their way up. Ricardo Petrozzi said, these men promptly returned from the dry, barren landscape to the Florida Keys NASA facility today, still denied by the government. They pretend that there was nothing to see. He says, this is one of the reasons why they're not only associate Satan with snakes and serpents. Could be, yeah. Yeah, I think there's some on there, Dan. You said your question was, can you get any pics of the moon Europa? But there's not a whole lot, but there are some. You can look it up and you can see some. Some of them are like a artist rendition, and some of them, very few, like the real deal, where you can really go into. And but funny enough, some of these moons or planets, it's funny where you just see like a strip of an area, and the rest of it's completely blurred out. It's like, why would they do that? Think about that a minute. If you're showing a real, actual photo of a moon or planet, whatever it may be, why would you feel the need to just have one strip so people, the public themselves, can have a look at that, but the rest of it's completely blurred? I've seen that. What was it, on Titan? Was it, guys? If you look it up, I'm sure you folks have looked it up at some point. When you look this up, you go, what is going on here? Why does it, what's with the blurring? It should be just a natural photo. Nothing hidden, right? Nobody else has been in the solar system. We're the only life that ever existed anywhere in the universe, right? What's the big deal? It makes no darn sense. This is James Craig, and thank you very much for your support. Always supporting the channel. You are awesome. I appreciate you. He said, hi, Chris. If I may say, on behalf of us all, your vids this week are just top... OG the Range Man. I mean, honestly, the lunar vid is explosive to be real. What I love about doing those particular ones, you never know what you're going to find in them. And like I said, that was, what was that again? I think I had it on there at one point. Oh, that wasn't it. Yeah, Dave Havery is the one that put it on there. He had told me, he said, hey, what do you think about this video? And I automatically recognized the voice, Jose Escamilla's. And I was just like, whoa, what's going on? I got to fix my keyboard. It's got one of the little legs just folded in. But I recognized his voice right off the bat. And I was like, yep. And the guy was awesome. And it's a shame that we lost another researcher like that because he was adding so much to, just letting this information out. Especially when he had the flying rods and everything else. Of course, he got beat up for that. And, oh, that's not it. It's an insect, blah, 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 blah. Listen, I've seen them slow them things down with cameras that have awesome, like, shutter speed. And those things look like they have wavy, like, wings to them. It's not something like a bug just flying like this very short, because that would, depending on how fast it is, and it depends on the shutter speed, that obviously a bug would look like a streak. Especially if it's close by, right? But you can see these things. One of them, remember there was a person where I'm trying to remember if they were like I don't know if they basically jumped into that cave. Remember that big cave? They literally either jumped into it or was like parachuting into it. I mean, you guys will probably remember which one I'm talking about. And you see this rod go and just actually go in front of him and go down into it. I'm going, and they literally slow this thing so far down, it was a blur. How does something like that do that? When you have a camera that's it has such a fast shutter speed, you would think you'd see segment, 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 segment. No, it was still a blur. And then they caught one that had like these wavy, like wings on the side of this rod. I don't know. It's kind of a 50-50 thing for me, but I think he was onto something there. And nobody really noticed that till one day he started looking at these things going, okay. And then what the funny part about it was there was another guy that was actually checking that out too, and he found those in the water. Okay, there's no insects in water as far as I remember, but they were literally swimming around where there was, I think there was these divers that were swimming and they were next to sharks and everything else, and you see these things just traveling extremely fast through the water. I'm going, okay, that's different. That's a whole different ball game now we're talking. Adam C., you said, hi, Chris, and all so busy in the skies. Wow. Sweet. Oh, yeah. Again, James, thank you very much, brother. I appreciate you. Steve gone, why are all these aliens looking at me? We find you an interesting specimen. Phil Cox with daughters Jessica and Kelsey Brown, what's going on? Good to have you in there, man. Hope you're doing well. I hope the family's doing well. John Shaw. Chris, the first words would be, where's the toilet, mate? Just pop a squat anyway. You'll be all right. Maurice Faulkner says, oh, I forgot my helmet. Yeah, that wouldn't be good, would it? Glenn Marsh, you say, my Mars Anomalies friends, sorry I'm late. Out working on our ice storm. I hope I didn't miss anything. We're only about, what, 45 minutes in, so roughly 45, 50 minutes. Like I said, I got on a little late. It was like 4:30-ish. But yeah, man, I hope you're doing all right, man, because we had like very little bit of crap here. In fact, we got up this morning and it was like 30 degrees. It was 31, and I seen it drop down to 30 before I left the house. Took the wife to work, and the roads weren't really that bad. However, when we were leaving, it was starting to come down where it was like frozen rain and ice. And of course, then the temperature started dropping, and right now it's only 27, so it's not that, it didn't drop that much, right? But then the ground started to freeze, and then it started getting a little weird, but then it got better, and it was fine. You know, when it's completely ice, when you get that thicker ice, like a tenth or a quarter inch of ice, now you're in a world of hurt. I mean, since yesterday, we had 2.8, well, actually 2.08, I'm sorry, inches of rain. And today we had just about a half an inch of rain. So since the rain started yesterday and turned into sleet and a little bit of snow, very little snow, we've had 2 inches of that, just a hair over it. So, and then of course I can't count the frozen precipitation because that doesn't go through the weather station like that. It's gonna be in liquid form. So, yeah, that was pretty interesting. And yeah, but yeah, I hope you're doing well. Did you get your power taken out, Glenn? Or was it everything still good? Because we had people up here in the mountains here, they just, yeah, they got their power knocked out. They're supposed to be on it probably around lunch. And a couple of people that lived up there, you know, called their family up there, is it back on? Nope. It's like, oh God, this was like 1:30, almost 2 o'clock. Yeah, it sucks. What's going on there, VP Vandenberg? Good to see you in there. Mimi says, me and John's going to fly to Mars. Who wants to join us? Oh, yeah, let's go. I'm down. John Warden, I agree, Chris. Sad boy, you said to Chris, you mean that the creatures and monsters of Mars will be hidden from humans? See, I'm not a big believer in like monsters and stuff like that. Although, like I said, we said in the last Hangout, where the people had supposedly used a jump room and went there, and the military had to protect the people that were in these jump rooms. In other words, they'd go from here on Earth, and they'd go into this jump room, and they instantly, just about instantly, on Mars in a structure, and then the doors would open. You'd be literally walk right out to the surface of Mars, right? But then the military had to like follow you around if you were doing things on just outside that building. They had to protect you from these dinosaurs or things that flew that wanted to eat you. I'm going, sounds a little far-fetched to me. Maybe a lot of far-fetched to me. But is it possible? Who might have said it can't exist? I don't know. I'm not there. I just don't believe that's the case, because if there's something that big or something that can eat you or some things that are flying, they would have attacked the rover by now. I mean, they would have done something to it. Like, what is this thing, and want to attack it, right? So I don't know that it would be the case. Now, I'm not saying there's not organic life. I believe there's plants. I believe there's flying insects. Obviously, there's water, even if most of it, or maybe half of it's brine, doesn't matter. There's still life on that planet. I guarantee it. Now, as far as beings, if they're alive, they probably went underground and just come out and scavenge, right? Or it's just a wasteland on top of the ground. It's completely fine underground. Who knows? Dan Martin, it says, also the third phase of the moon shows a lot of UFO. Yeah, they've been showing a lot of good stuff lately. I know back in the day they were a joke. At least people thought they were, because they think they were putting out false stuff and fakery and everything else. But they've been doing really, really good, I have to admit. In fact, I watch them every now and then. I put it on and see what they've got. And some pretty impressive stuff sometimes. Mr. George Meir, how you doing? I'm glad to see you in here, and I hope you're doing well. Hi, Krista. The rocket booster that is going to impact the moon, do you think it is a cover to destroy an alien base on the moon like they have done in the past? Well, like I said, my last video was of the far side of the moon. Where do you think this rocket's going? Now, of course, there's a lot of area on the far side of the moon. We know that. So is it going to hit right there? Well, it's really coincidental how China is in the far side of the moon, although then next to the South Pole. But it really didn't say. It just said the far side, unless somebody else has got other information where they're a little bit more precise. But, you know, it's just weird and coincidental how we can see these things that are there on the planet, like these what look like spacecraft and structures everywhere, and yet they're going to go bomb it. Like I said, is it possible that they know China's going to go after that? And so before they can get to it and then find information or technology that might make that country stronger, why don't we just go ahead and just drop this here? At what? I forget what it was, 5,000 miles an hour with the equivalent of like 20,000 sticks of dynamite. Yeah, I mean, so let's just go ahead and just park this here. It'll be all right. So, I don't know. And like I said, even if it was, folks, even if this thing was still full of some kind of liquid explosive, how would you see it? It's on the far side of the moon. Nobody will ever see it. In fact, I remember, speaking of the far side of the moon, somebody had said to me one time, well, there's a lot of people out there with telescopes. Well, how come they haven't seen it? Because it's the far side of the moon. I mean, it's just common sense here. Unless you can see through the moon, which you would be gifted, there's no way you could do that. So, and even the side that's facing us, there's so much stuff there. I mean, come on. The Apollo missions, they were up there for that simple reason, to see what was going on. And I still believe that they were, back in the day, with that Lunex project, where they not only wanted to go to the moon, and they would describe that, and I hope a lot of you guys read that, where they describe how they're going to build it with a rover and everything else, but then plans to stay there. I also showed you the spacecraft that they wanted to build, and it looked a lot like the SR-71, strangely enough. Although, like I said, remember I told you guys way back before I even found this, I said, what would happen if you could just modify that? Change the engine and change the propulsion or whatever, but still have that same kind of look to it, so if they took off with this thing, it would be invisible. Well, next to invisible. It would be next to invisible. It could take off when it wanted to. I mean, if you think about it, how far did the SR-71 fly up to? Pretty darn high. What was it? How many feet was it? Was it 40, 50? I don't know if it was 40 or 60,000 feet. Probably higher than that. I think it was much higher than that. But regardless of the fact, if you could go into space, maybe you have like a two-part engine. One is to burn into, meaning to take off, regular flight, take off, and then you had different engines kick in once you're out in space. Or if you got enough momentum going out into space, you can literally just shut them off, and you're on, whatever it is, 230, 240,000 miles away. You go to the moon, slow down, land on there, and there you go. And people say, well, how would you do that? You're going to be on a lunar surface. You could fall into a freaking crater or something like that, or whatever. But that may happen unless there's already structures there with some kind of landing, pad or some kind of thing that's already there. Maybe kind of like an airport where it's got its own landing, we'll call it field, because it could be just about anything, right? So it would have its own way to be able to land with no problem. If there was another civilization, which it's sure looking that way, In fact, I'm a firm believer in anyway. It's not just from this last video, but from many videos ago, I'm convinced. We're definitely not alone. We never have been. This is the reason why I said, like, I chuckle when I hear people saying, oh, did you guys see these UFOs? Did you guys see those? Oh my God. Really? It's like, I'm not even fazed by that. I could care less because I'm seeing something much bigger, much larger, much more awesome than a couple flying objects in our airspace. You know, and if they're somebody else's, then I think that's awesome to a certain degree because we want to know who they are. But if it's otherworldly, we already know that they're going to be something from somewhere else because somebody built that stuff on the moon. So therefore, there's other beings, other civilizations. So I'm not enthusiastic about seeing, oh, there's a little flying something or other in our airspace or whatever. I think, like I said, that's ours. I don't think it's somebody else's. And I think they decided to either reverse engineer a spacecraft. This is what they got today, or it's just our technology we built. Some people go, oh, it can't be ours. Why? No faith in our technology? You got to remember, they've been messing around with, you know, anti-gravitics since the 1940s. 40s? We're talking what? 60, 80 years ago? I mean, I think we've come pretty far since then. Daniel Webster, what's happening? Good to see you in there. Says, hello, fellas. What is happening? Daniel, I hope you're doing well. Kyle, he said, I wish there was a way that we can all meet in person. That would be awesome. Yeah, it would be. That definitely would be. But everybody's like from everywhere, which is cool. Oh, thank you, Mags. Mags K says, Chris gave us some gems this week, guys. I gotta say. Thanks, Chris. You're amazing. I appreciate that, Mags. I really do. That is awesome. Like I said, I love it because I don't know what I'm going to find in these. It could be absolutely nothing. Like, in fact, before I did this Mars one, I told you guys this before. Look at a Mars photo. I can look right into the photo. I can see, okay, this looks distorted. This looks distorted. It's not the same texture as the photo. Something's there, something. And you can either try to bring it out and nothing ever comes out of it. Next. There's no point in it. I wouldn't waste your time and I wouldn't waste mine. Next. I think it was like 3 photos that I had that that was already there, but I'm going, I can see something, but not quite enough to really show it to you folks. In other words, if it was something small and that's all you see in the photo, it's just not a big, I'm just not a big fan of it. I would rather see multiple things if they are there and be able to convey that to you instead, right? Yeah, I think I might have, because I think it jumped on me there. I just read yours, Ricardo. You said you missed the second and third part. Let me go back, because it does. It literally, I can start going down slowly, all of a sudden, it takes off. Next thing you know, I'm down near the bottom. I don't know how that happens, but it does. Let me see. David Gossimo, what's going on? Good to see you in there. I'm still going back here. Where the heck is this thing at? Okay, that's 1 of 3 there. Okay, he said the first one I think was in 1969. A crack astronaut unit was sent to the moon by an American president for a look at technology they said didn't exist, and of course then he said these men promptly returned from a drive. Okay, we read that one, and then okay, 3 of 3. It said if no one else can help, and if you can find then maybe you can hire the Mars anomalies hunters. I like that. Dun, 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 dun. Oh yeah, the A-team. Captain Solo is in the house. Mimi, I agree with you. He says, it's a shame our real origin is hidden from us. Yeah, I mean, it's just, whether it's here on Earth, our own satellite, the moon, Mars. What is the deal? I don't know of anybody in here that would be freaked out. Now, don't get me wrong. You've seen when you get into these moon photos, if you just submerge yourself into this, just jump right into it. If you have a big screen and you have it just on the screen and you're not looking at anything else but what's around that screen. In other words, there's nothing around you that you can see. You just get into depth into that. It's kind of scary. It's kind of a creepy feeling because you don't know what's there. And you look and you go, oh, I see these structures. And it looks like layers of ground and you can see what look like these giant either crafts or something. You just go, what is this place? Is it a junkyard? Was it a civilization there at one time? Like, I think even I've said it and some other person said it. Maybe it's like, and it was speculative, of course, but was it a planet at one time? Like some of these moons in our own solar system, they're just like Earth. So it's not out of the realm to believe it maybe had an atmosphere at one time. It was like had plant growth. It had all of that. We don't know that. Could very well be. So, when I see that, I go, because some people are going, how would they survive on the moon? There's no oxygen, obviously, but we don't know if they have some way to, let's say like well, here's a good example. We had the Perseverance rover just converted carbon, I think it's carbon dioxide, converted into oxygen on a very, very tiny scale. Okay, but if you can make one of those for each building, something that would draw something out of there, whatever it may be, or converts it into an oxygen or something they can breathe, every structure can have one. And maybe they travel underground, or they just get in a spacecraft that's in their house, or call it whatever, building, and just fly from one place to another, and go to another place, and you're in oxygen again. You never have to actually drive, although I've seen areas on the moon that look like have roads. So that's why it really messes with your mind. You're like, so was this moon a planet or something along those lines at one time? Really makes you think. But like I said, if you submerge yourself into these photos, you literally get this weird, eerie feeling. Like if you were walking around there, would you see this huge spacecraft, especially the one that was like 20 feet long? 20 miles, I'm sorry. Can you imagine looking at this thing going, good God, it's like bigger than any building here that somebody's built here on Earth, and you're seeing something like that. You would literally crap yourself. There's just no way around that. If I was placed in front of it, although I love the idea of seeing something like that, and I would love to go, but once you're literally placed in front of it and looking at this thing going, oh my God, and you're looking down the length of this thing, this is a spacecraft. So is it possible these people used to come and go off this moon? Think about it. Maybe there was a whole civilization that would just fly back and forth. X amount of people was just one of their craft that they cruised around the solar systems with, and at some point it crashed on, or it's just another, what was the word I want to use? Well, it could be anything. Just other people from another civilization was just coming along and somehow just either crashed into the moon or it landed there, couldn't get, who knows, for whatever reason. I don't know why it wouldn't be able to lift off if it's something that large could get there to begin with. But I don't know. It's crazy. It's gotta get all sci-fi on you guys here. This is gonna be funny. But is it possible you see like these spacecraft that fly next to a planet, all of a sudden this really massive gravitational pull just pulls them into the planet and they crash there, and of course, they take the people or whatever and kill them off or whatever it is they do. That part's funny. But as far as like, is it possible there's something that brought it to the moon and they just couldn't lift back off? Is it, I don't know. But if this moon at one point wasn't ours, and it was somewhere else in the universe, we don't know who is involved with this moon. We have no idea. No idea. But I get a creepy feeling sometimes when you're looking deep into this photo, and some of these deeper ones, that you just see these weird things. You go, damn, if I was standing in front of this, would I be like totally freaked out? Could very well be. And maybe this is the reason why they don't want to share it with the human race, because they're like, these people couldn't handle this crap. Now you and I would go, yeah, show me more. But would you be okay if they dropped you right in front of this 20-mile, spacecraft, or this other structure or that other spacecraft that was over on the left-hand side that looked like it was kind of laid over, or was a structure or whatever? Would you be okay with that? You'd be like this little speck standing next to it. I don't know. That's a whole different story. It's one thing to say that here, but if you're up there, who knows? Maybe this is the reason why the people, like the Apollo mission, like 11, they were totally freaked out when they came back. And of course, they couldn't share it with anybody. But yeah, you get the idea. Sad Boy, he said, Chris, the other day, the real Jimmy Roberts was showing the video about letters and numbers carved in the rocks and surface of Mars. Now, I'll be honest with you. You know, I've seen a lot of cool stuff that Jimmy does. And some of them could be misconstrued as letters. But to be honest with you, some of the stuff, and I've seen this myself plenty of times, and I never made a video on it because unless it's like, let's say the rock is smooth. Let's say it's like a nice smooth piece of slate. And there's something literally carved in it. I don't care what language it is. It could be Vulcan. It could be, you know, Romulan. You know what I mean? But it'd be one thing if it was written on there and it's clear as a bell, and the rest of it was smooth. You go, okay, clearly this was part of something that was on a structure. Maybe it's a piece of steel and it's from a spacecraft, and you can see like half of this writing. But the whole thing, that's manipulation. That's what that is. It's because I've seen this many, many times. Now, although it does, some of the stuff actually really does look like writing. It does. But a lot of that I find, at least in my personal opinion, I find it looks just like the manipulation they lay over these rocks, right? At least, you know, that's what I've seen. This is the reason why you hardly ever see me put anything on there that looks like, unless it really stands out, anything that looks like lettering. Because I've seen it. Ooh, good God. The drink's going to kill me. But this is the reason why you don't see me do a whole lot of things like that, with things on rocks, unless it's something separate and the rest of the rock is complete different texture. Meaning it does look like a rock, but something carved into it. But I did see the video, and Jimmy does great work. He really does. I'm just not sold on the idea because, again, I've seen this plenty of times that that's writing. It looks like a manipulation to me. VP Vandenberg says, hi, guys, I'm back. Sorry. I'm back late. Sorry. Juxtabilly, what's going on? Good to see you there, man. Mimi Reacts says, Oblivion was a good movie, but the ending was a bit strange. Yeah, I agree. That was actually a really good movie. Phil Cox says, hi, Chris. Hey, everyone. Long time no see. Hope you're all doing well. Well, same here, man. I hope you and the family are doing well. You know, especially with all this crazy weather that's been going on. Captain Solo says, I just subbed. Well, I appreciate you, man. Welcome aboard. If this is your first time in here, I believe you are. If you're into this kind of stuff, where you want trying to find the truth, that's what we're doing. Do we have all the answers? Absolutely not. But we're trying to find the answers. We're analyzing these photos, pulling them apart, because we know they're manipulating. We know that they're hiding stuff in these photos. So we do our best to try to pull these things apart, rip them apart, and find out what's really in them. Now, again, are we spot on? Are the things that we see? Absolutely not. And like I said many times, we can't vet any of it, so there's no point in trying to say, this is exactly what it is. Now, we can judge by the size of some of these things. Where in the last moon photo, I said, well, that Gaia crater is 57 miles wide. And there's what looks like a craft that's 20 miles in length, if you do the measurements. So some of the structures, or complexes, we're going to call it, they're very large. And when you look into this thing, you can see all these little pieces just laying around. So, you know, you can assume, and of course I know it sucks to assume, but you can see the size of these things. They're either crafts or very large structures on the moon. That's all they can be. Now, some people have said, I could see people on there. You wouldn't see people. There's just no way. You'd be way too small to see a person on that. Now, I guess when you look at the big picture, like in other words, you zoom way out and look at the whole picture, people have seen things like what look like dragons and stuff like that. And I didn't see that personally, but like I said, you would be a speck on it. You would barely see a person. Because that's from like 75 or 78 miles off the lunar surface that we saw. So it gives you an idea, 78 miles off, kind of like the LROC, the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter Camera. That's 75 miles off the surface of the moon. So 75, 78 miles, doesn't matter. You go, okay, you're looking at it from there. These things got to be quite large. And then there's a bunch of small, tiny things scattered everywhere. Yeah, I don't know. I think people would be freaked out. But yeah, I mean, that's what we pretty much do here. And if you're like-minded like that, all these people in here, we got a great hangout here with great people. I couldn't ask for better people in here. So I hope you like it here. Like Kyle said, we talk about a little bit of everything here, Captain Solo. No doubt. I'm going to jump all the way down to the bottom here. And so if I miss anybody, please just rewrite it. Tim Houston is in the Hangout, huh? What's going on there, Mr. Tim Houston? DH, he said, what do you think about John Leonard Walson? Legit. I do. I believe he is legit. Now, just like anybody who does these, what's the word I want to use? Who get interviewed, I believe some people embellish. Now, I'm not saying he's not telling the truth. I've seen a lot of his work, and he uses his own telescope. And I've seen some things in that photo that are legit. In fact, what I need to do is actually find what he's looking at that time and try to find the same area that may be like manipulated and try to bring out whatever's in there and see if it actually matches to what he sees. But again, he's looking at it from overhead and like in a weird perspective, and it may not be the same that I'd see, so it may not look the same. But no, he's definitely the real deal. This guy has done, you know, if you read on him and what he's done in the past, pilot and all kinds of other stuff, just crazy stuff he's done, the guy's legit. Now, there is other people out there who use a telescope that want to dog him and say, you know, that he's a liar and he's attacking him. That's bull. Absolute bull. You know, the guy's legit. Just read up on him. You don't have to listen to me. I mean, but I've done my homework on him. The guy is definitely legit. No doubt in my mind. Flux capacitor 72 Monty said if we were over mined looted minerals weighing tons and tons from the moon, would its lack of said material being removed affect its trajectory that might screw up our current climate? I wouldn't think it would affect it. Do you think so? I don't think so. Because it still has its own, it's still orbiting around the Earth at such a speed. Now, don't get me wrong, they say it's already like just inching away every year. So I don't think that has anything to do with it. Which reminds me, remember we were talking about how SpaceX's rocket is on a collision course. It's supposed to be March 4th, I'm sorry. You know, I still find this hard to believe. Now, people say it was in outer orbit. That's what I read. Now, let's suppose here's the moon, here's the Earth. It's much larger. Even if it was smack dab in the middle of the both of them, Earth still has more gravity. However, it's kind of like, I don't know if I can use the analogy, like a really small, super, super bright flashlight. And then, of course, you got one with a really large flashlight. It's got the same lumens. The only difference is one's a lot larger and can scatter light outward more. But which one's more condensed or and basically more of a beam, the lot smaller one. Unless, of course, you can adjust the larger one, but not likely. So is it possible because the moon is so small and it's just got that gravity point and it just makes it stronger? Is that a possibility? I don't believe it is, but it's a possibility. But even if it was in the middle, you would think, obviously, the Earth has more pull on it, and that thing wouldn't make it anywhere. And why would it crash there? Why wouldn't it just crash at the face that faces us? Why wouldn't it crash on any, well, I'm going to call it side, even though it's round. But let's say it crashes on the right or the left or in the middle. But no, it's on the back side. Come on. It just seems a little fishy to me. And like I said, you know, when it comes to that kind of stuff, I'm a bit dubious. And I know you guys are too. You know, you just kind of think, yeah, whatever. Coincidental? I just don't think so. And now that, like I said, China's on that side, on the very southern pole, just about on the South Pole. I don't know. Lee Herring, what's going on? Good to see you in there, man. He said, hey all, thumbs up. 20-mile-long craft is unimaginable to us. Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine what that would look like. And here's the thing. It's not so much as 20 miles long. How tall is that bad boy? Hell, if it's a mile in height, what? Now picture looking at this thing up and then looking at it down. Oh my God. It's like you could literally, it could be a city in this thing. You know, there was a small city called Central Falls up in Rhode Island. You can look this up. It's 1 square mile. It's probably one of the most populated areas for that 1 square mile. At one time, it used to be the most populated area per 1 square mile, I think, in the United States. And it's 1 square mile. This is 20 miles in length. And let's say, again, let's say it's like a mile high from top to bottom. Are you insane? You know how many people that thing can hold? Maybe that was an arc to get to the moon. What do you think of that? How do we know? Maybe they made their way from their planet that was dying and somehow made it over to this moon and just basically crash landed. They didn't care at that point. And then of course they got off and they started life on the moon. I don't know. Just pulling this out of my head. You're right about that. Long Island, New York. You said the presidents, and you were saying Jimmy Carter and Ronald Reagan. Yeah, you're right. Have had UFO sightings. President Teddy Roosevelt saw a UFO over Sagamore Hill, Long Island, in 1907. I don't remember hearing that pop, but yeah, definitely Jimmy Carter and Ronald Reagan. Absolutely. Absolutely. George Berry said, Alien Hunters channel. You can see beings, aliens on the moon in some of the photos. He zooms in close in some of his photos. Yeah, I mean, I've never seen aliens, but I have seen plenty of structures that he shows. That's what I love about Alien Hunter. He actually gets them super close, but sometimes it's a little too close. Now, if you're on a phone, maybe it wouldn't look too bad. But when you're on a much larger screen, you're kind of like, okay, that's a bit too close. And it's hard to see anything. This is the reason why I don't go like super close in, because you're kind of like, I can't really make that out. But when you, or if I do go in, I'll back out a little bit too and go back in to show you perspective about where it's at and what's around it, right? But like I said, I don't ever see beings. Maybe like I said, my mind is wired differently to where I see mechanical and structural as opposed to like a human being or a person type thing, right? So, but that I've never seen, but structures and what look like crafts, absolutely. Like I said, that's what I love about Alien Hunters channel. Yes, Steve God, I'm just going to say that. Alien Hunters video this week was amazing. Yes, it was. Absolutely. Josh D said, I had a long phone call. I know, I hear that. Flux Capacitor 72 said, good answer. Gravity of Earth overpowering moons I failed to consider. Something about the upcoming rocket crash does smell fishy. Yeah, it just doesn't seem right. Jean Ward's taking over. He said, good night, everyone. All right, Jean Ward, we definitely got to get you back on. We've been saying this for a while, and somehow we just either miss each other or we're just too busy. We don't get in contact with each other. But I think we're going to do it this next time. What do you guys think? He could bring some of his work on. We can check it out. Check out some other space news or something we looked at we can do. What do you guys think? I think everybody's in favor of that. So, Jean Ward, yeah, see if we can do about getting on next Friday, right? Unless, of course, we're busy. Then, well, it's different. But let me know. Ricardo, he said, I checked into the orbital mechanics of SpaceX moon rocket collision, and it's entirely possible. I don't know. I've done the same thing, and I'm just going, is it a possibility? Yes. But does it seem quite coincidental that this is going on? Think about it. It's kind of like they're really progressing. I mean, these China and everything, they're really pushing forward space stations. They want to do this on the moon. They're really like gung-ho with this stuff. And then you hear all of a sudden, because where the Chang 4 is, or Chang'e, depending, it's on the other side of the moon, or the far side, near the South Pole, and yet this rocket's going to just happen to be on that backside. Now, does it have anything to do with China? Probably not. Could be. But it's a little weird because a lot of the stuff we see on the far side of the moon photos, cities and structures everywhere, and yet that's where the thing's going to crash. Just seems a little odd to me. Really odd. I don't know. You said agreed. Possible, but plausible? I don't know. Just seems a bit weird. Jossie says, bring Jean on. We'll have to definitely check it, Jean. We'll definitely go through it again, like the day before if we have to, make sure, or like an hour early so we don't have to worry about everything not working right. But anyway, have a good night. Hope you're doing well and just stay safe, right? We'll talk to you soon. Keep up the good work, by the way. Mimi Reactions, you said it would make sense to take a closer look on the area after the rocket crashed. Yeah, it would be. Yep. Absolutely. War Crime, what's going on? He said, hello, everyone. What's going on, man? Hope you're doing well. Josh D said, China has 3 rover landings planned around and on Mars polars. Yep. Well, it's what I'm saying. Why the big rush? What's going on the moon and on Mars that other countries already been all over? If you were China, you could be anywhere. It could be Russia. It could be anyone. Could be any country out there. You're sitting there and you're going, okay. So you see the United States get there. Of course, back then, the Soviet Union tried and failed a few times, and I think they landed there at one time and blah, 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 over the years. So this is what happens. You've done this. You've looked around yourself. If you've gone there, in other words, if you sent a lander or an orbiter. If you haven't, suddenly you want to send one up there. Do you want to send your own up there because you don't believe what the United States is doing up there? Or do you know what they're doing up there and you want a piece of that pie? I mean, is it possible, and I'd like to believe this is true, by the way, that they watched somebody's videos or mine and said, that is curious. Maybe they looked at the photos themselves and could do a lot better job of stripping the garbage off of them and said, good Lord, look at this stuff. Who knows? But it's just weird, like all of these countries want to go all of a sudden. If I was a country and I go, listen, the United States already did it. They're bringing back the information. I could care less. What would be the reason why you'd want to go up there and see a dusty, cold, barren planet? What would be the point? Just to say you've done it? What the hell? Throw your cards in. Let's see what we can do. Why not? Or is there a really big time motive to do this? I think there's a motive. Oops. Eric Gowrie said, Chris, we may be checking to see if China is actually up there or not, too. They do have a strong propaganda team over there. That's true. You got to make a great point, Eric. Absolutely. Yeah, they can churn out some BS just like the United States can. No doubt about it. In fact, every country. I mean, again, if you look at the Soviet Union back in the day, when they sent up their rovers to the moon, okay? And I think one of them drove like 1.5 miles, something like that, the Lunokhod rover. And there were several of those. Now, some of them, if I'm not mistaken, some of the missions failed prior to going. But they had several of them. And, you know, they weren't up there just to go, you know, because clearly, think about this a minute. They weren't up there to just look at rocks. They didn't have a person up there. Now, I believe it did actually take its own samples. It took its samples and stuff and sent the information back. But was that the main reason why they were there? I can say the same thing. I send a rover up there, a nice high-tech one, and go, yeah, we're just looking for rocks and sand. Wait a minute. The United States has already done this and really found anything of really any value, quote unquote. So why would I feel the need to go up there too? Unless there was something to be found. It's like I said, if you were looking across the river or a body of water and said, oh, you know, just another woods, you know, it's just woods and trees everywhere, nothing there to see. Or you see something, you know, that looks like a structure, but it looks kind of modern. I wonder who's that? Well, it looks abandoned though. It kind of, I don't know. Let's take a closer look. Okay, you look at it with a telescope, or not a telescope, but you know, like binoculars or monocular, whatever it may be, and you're looking at it and you go, okay, I like what I'm seeing. I can't get there because there's a huge body of water. You're going to try your best to get there no matter what it takes, right? That's what these people are doing. There's got to be a motive to it. I'm sure it's not the simple reason to say, yeah, we can do it. Oh, come on. There's got to be more to it than that. We're doing our science experiments up on the moon. Okay. Josh D said, plan for the next 5 years. Yeah, I've heard about that. Steve Godwin said, Chris, it's so Earth-based telescopes can't see it. Exactly. And because a lot of these structures are in the dark, I wanted to say dark, but it's not dark, but the far side of the moon, who's going to see it? Nobody. Nobody's going to see this. And it just happens to be on, it's not going to crash anywhere but on the far side. Oh, come on. And like I said, if you were aliens and you wanted to build and hide from your mother planet, you would do your best because you know at some point, it's like playing hide and go seek. You're going to try to hide behind something. You're not going to stand there where you can be easily seen at some point. Let's say you're playing hide and seek with, you go back in time, you're a modern day person like we are today, and you know in the dark, you're playing hide and go seek with these cavemen, but suddenly these cavemen get smart. They put a flashlight on. Well, now you've been seen. Is it possible, that kind of like analogy is like, they're on the dark, I'm going to say the dark side again. On the far side, you're on the far side because you know at some point the people on this mother planet is going to be able to see you if you're anywhere else on the moon. Hide behind it. You can come and go as you please because if the Earth is here and you're here, you can just fly off the backside of it. You'll never be seen, ever. You can literally fly from behind the moon and nobody will ever see, as long as you don't come around it, right? If you just fly straight out through the back, nobody'd be none the wiser. Unless, of course, you're keeping an eye on the moon 24/7 and see this, which some people have caught some things. But yeah. James Cragen, thank you very much for your support. As always, sir, I do appreciate it. You said, in the moon vid, there's a huge amount of chimney-type structures coming out of the surface and plenty of towers scattered across the whole area. Yeah, I mean, I've noticed that too, where is it like a ventilation type thing? And if it's not ventilation, because like I said before, it could be air intake. Maybe you have some kind of reactor or something that needs to be cooled, and of course it could do that with ease, especially when there's no sun on the moon. Literally draw this air in and cool down whatever you need to run, and then of course it comes back out something else. So in other words, comes in, heat exchanger, and forces the heat out in another vent. But then you think you'd see that, because it'd be heat, and you see like this kind of waviness of heat coming off a really cold moon. And if it's the other way around, when the sun is on it, then grab the heat off the surface of the moon, heat up the inside of the moon, and then shut itself down once it's at night, and then this way you can retain the heat. I don't know. There's all kinds of different ways we could think about this. Now, is any of them true or possible? 50-50, right? You jumped on me. Miss Hurd, what's going on? Good to see you in there. I hope you're doing well. Kind of glad I jumped down here. Turklerin, what's happening? Oh, you said, or else nobody went there. Oh, so you're saying the Apollo missions, you're thinking nobody went there? I believe that they did, my personal opinion, only because of what I've seen in the photo. So it's kind of like evidence of it that they have gone just by what I've seen in these photos and uncovered in a lot of these Apollo missions where you get the astronauts standing there and there's things either in the foreground, the background, there's always something around them because they're not just there for the rocks. There's much, much more. In fact, you can see areas where it looks like structures instead of those big mounds or mountains in the back. Yeah, they're actually what looks like machine parts. I did a video a while back. I need to go back to that one because that one was pretty cool, where you can see the astronaut way off in the distance and he's being taken, the picture's being taken from far back. And you can see what looks like structures all around this astronaut with the lunar buggy, right? And it's all over the back behind him. It's literally there. He's right in the middle of this. So it's kind of like, this is the reason why I believe this is the real deal and that they've been there. Now, some people say, never been there in a million years. I don't know about that. I think they have. In fact, again, based on the photos and what I found, they've definitely been there. Kyle Harvey says, what is going to be open-minded to be a scientist? Please, people, help be open-minded. Absolutely. I mean, you can still be, I know it sounds like it's contradictory, but you can be open-minded and skeptical at the same time. In other words, open-minded to the fact that it's a possibility, but not skeptical where you got to believe just about anything. So, you know, you want to have that fine line and still be say, well, you can't just shut it out. You just want to have, it's a possibility, judging on what we're seeing in these photos. You go, okay, either or, but not completely shut out the idea and go, whatever. And then, of course, you don't want to be overboard, like, yeah, I believe anything they throw my way. No, you got to use your own thinking mind. You know, you got to look at this stuff. Even when I tell people, listen, you know, do your own research. This is the reason why I leave the links, so that people can look at this stuff. You can see it for yourself. Let me see something here. All right, there it goes. All right. What's going on there, Mr. Metalhead? Good to see you in there. If you guys haven't hit the thumbs up, please do so. Let's get it done. Well, because here's the thing. Like I said, I like the idea of, because the more thumbs up you get, the more they share the channel, or the video rather. Well, it's actually both, right, if you really think about it. But, you know, the more thumbs up, the better it is. And it just, you know, it's more likely that they'll share or put it in a suggested box on the side of the screen when you go on YouTube. So the more you do that, the better it is for the actual channel, right? Oops. Hate it when it does that. All right. Do-do-do-do-do. Oops, wrong one. There it goes. What's going on there, Valerian of the Mac 3? What's happening? Good to see you in there. Miss Heard, you said if our sun had Novid, would it now be a neutron star collapsed in on itself? Well, it would probably just be a burned out dwarf. So another bit would just be like a burned out cinder type thing. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure other things could happen to it too. Like you said, it would collapse within itself or onto itself. So basically it implodes. So it's a possibility. I guess it depends on how it goes about doing it. If it's more instant or it's not. And I don't mean like, and it's done. But I mean within a reasonable amount of time, right? TMD girls, if we were caramel tastes hard after cinnamon whiskey. Yeah, but imagine so. Ooh, you're talking about two extreme tastes too. Well, caramel's not too bad, but ooh, yeah, that could be pretty bad. P. Ferreira said China has been complaining about Elon placing so many Starlinks in orbit, loss of control of the spacecraft, not in Elon's warehouse. Yeah, I know. Yeah, which is really weird. I'm just going back a little bit. Yes, Miss Heard, I'm doing as good as well, and I hope you are. Metalhead said, what's up, everyone? What's going on, Metalhead? Good to see you in there. And somebody needs to fix that exhaust. Some cars just went by. James says, I'll be back in 20. All right, everybody talk about James. Shh. He won't know. Ricardo Petrozzi said, I'm rather convinced by the theory that the sun novid and splattered the moon and Earth with superheated plasma and debris. And the glassy rocks on moon Apollo missions is evidence they went for. Well, I don't know, but is it possible? Now, obviously, you're going to have sand superheated as glass, whatever. And what do they call it? Petrification? Is that what they call that? You know, what if, and we found this right here on Earth, we had that kind of melted rock as well, from what they believe was nuclear blast. And these were in writings from ancient people. Is it possible that happened on the moon? Because if there is spacecraft and structures and everything else, and some of the stuff looks dilapidated, or it looks like it's just maybe through war or whatever, is it possible they had a lot of explosions, like nuclear stuff type like that, and just melted this sand? Is that a possibility? Now, I do believe that's a possibility as well, what you just said, as far as your theory there. It's a very good possibility. Now, some people stated that we had like a meteor shower come through the solar system, and of course, bombarded, you know, a lot of the planets in the solar system, and that's what may have started to wipe out or completely wiped out life on Mars. And of course, the moon, depending on if it was what position it was in at that point, it might have took the brunt of a lot of these collisions of these rocks hitting Earth. And of course, a lot of them would just disintegrate depending on how big they were in the Earth's atmosphere. So there's so many different ways that we could have been, you know, like you said, at the sun supernova. You know, like you said, I mean, depending on how we look at it too, because we're talking supernova too, now that I think about it, you know, it's going to get like really, really large till it finally burns itself out. And they said it's going to happen over what, X amount of millions of years. But it becomes a supernova where it just starts, and then eventually it just implodes in itself and becomes a burned out dwarf. If I recollect my science correctly. But either way, I don't want to be around when that happens. So they're saying as it's expanding and as it's growing over millions of years, this is the reason why we want to try to make a leap over to Mars too, because at some point, you know, humans, it might get really hot on this planet at some point where it's going to become a burned out cinder, or end up being like another, you know, runaway greenhouse kind of planet type thing too, right? So we don't want to have that happen. Either way, I mean, yeah, it's crazy. IR Film, he said, yeah, something odd with that rocket. Shouldn't it have fallen? Shouldn't it fall to the Earth? Well, yeah, and that's what I was stating. You know, again, it's hard to understand all the mechanics to it, like we were just talking about here earlier. Well, this thing's moved on me. Let me move the screen back down. Where even Ricardo was commenting about that. And I don't understand all the mechanics, exactly what position this thing was. Exactly, if it was, like I said, even if it's smack dab right in the middle of both the moon and the Earth, you would think the Earth has a lot more pull. It would just pull this thing in. And so I still find that a little weird. And the fact that it's going to be in the far side of the moon is just, I don't know. I just find it really coincidental how that's going to go down. And if you notice, we're getting more and more gung-ho about wanting to go to the moon. And it's not just us. It's China, ourselves. I believe ESA at one time wants to do the same. So everybody wants to go. So what do you do with the evidence? Let's bomb it. And how do we know that thing is completely empty with fuel? Or it doesn't already have some kind of warhead on it. How would we know? We're not going to be around to see it. Well, we'll be around to see it, but we won't be looking on the far side of the moon. So we don't know. Pure speculation as far as any kind of warhead or any kind of extra fuel on there, but I don't know. I say it's 50-50 possibility. Oops. Way down here. A Dragon City demo, he said, in my humble opinion, the moon has been inhabited by humans and has controlled everything on Earth for a very, very long time. Now, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities. Now, how it all started, how they got there, well, that's a different story. Unless they were doing this back in the 60s and they've been, you know, running crap from up there since then. I don't know. Or long before then. We just don't know. If a lot of our history is being hidden, even from places here on Earth, what makes you think they definitely wouldn't hide something that's on the moon? Of course they would. Without a, you know, a doubt in my, yeah, without a doubt in my mind, I believe that's absolutely true. Kyle, you said we've been coming and going off of the Earth and the Moon and Mars for millions of years, and I'll keep saying that. I think that may be a very good possibility. I think it's a strong possibility, to be truthful. And again, I'm basing this on different things we're seeing from Mars and the moon and stuff like that, because people go, well, why is it there a lot of similarities to stuff we're seeing on the moon, or the moon and Earth, and then of course the moon and Mars, or we see things on Mars that look a lot like we'd see here on Earth. What's the deal with that? Unless we were like two planets that were living basically at the same time at one point in time. I don't know. You know, because I try to wrap my head around that too. I'm going, how is it possible that we can see a lot of things that are mechanical or structural or whatever that looks a lot and has some similarities to what we have here on Earth? That's kind of weird, isn't it? Very good possibility. Let me see. So NASA's James Webb is one crucial step away from taking its first images. Now they had one, and I don't think I've got it here now, but it was basically an inverted photo. Reddit users find a black hole in the ocean with Google Maps. What? That doesn't look... What do you call it? What is that? China just launched a robot that catches space junk with a net. Yeah, I've seen that too. People are going, yeah, who's other, what do you call it, they're going to take out of their satellites, they're going to take out of orbit. Yeah, so they had a photo, and I don't think I've got it here. Was it this one here? Yeah, basically inverted it. Well, you know, it says a simulated image mosaic, contrast inverted. So this is all white with just black dots. So I just inverted it. The field of view is 25 arc minutes square. But what's funny about it is you look right here, you got one on the left, it looks like it's got a motion blur, like it's moving. See it right here? And you can see like a little white streak behind it. Imagine that. See that one right here on the left? Just got this little tiny tail on the back of it. All the other ones look like just regular planets or stars or whatever they may be. But that's a little weird. Right there. Yeah, I find that pretty interesting. But this is like the first one. Of course, it's got to, go over its instruments and everything else, make sure everything's 100%. Adjust the mirrors, get them perfect. And if I'm not mistaken, it's a mosaic because it's, what is it, 9 mirrors, guys? How many mirrors are on this thing? You guys remember off the top of your head? I think it's maybe more than that. But either way, they have to all be perfectly aligned, so they're adjusting so they get one photo, of course, because it's all going to go into one. And so they combined all of these mirrors shots, and this is what they came up with. So I just, like I said, the whole background was white, and these dots were black, so I decided to invert it. I went, why would you invert it instead of just showing the real deal? And you can see this one like right here in the middle of the screen. You can see it's like a star or something. You can see it like the light gleaming off of it. See that? Just like the one above it on the left. But that makes sense. This one here looks like it's got a little bit of a tail or blur to it right there behind it. Kind of weird. But, so they're working on it. It's getting there. Let's see. This is where they're talking about the space station's about to die, and now we know when, where, and how. And of course, they want to do this in 2031, right? And it says the ISS first crewed in 2000 will be extended for use until 2030, or 15 years beyond its initial life expectancy. Then in January 2031, it'll be sent crashing into the ocean. Like I said, that's why it reminded me a lot of like the movie, or the series rather, The 100. And of course, they show it here, where they're going to drop this bad boy in the South Pacific Ocean. So, yeah. Can you imagine that thing? I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of it's going to break apart and burn up, but can you imagine that? NASA said that the ISS alone doesn't have the propulsion capabilities needed to complete the orbit and will require visiting spacecraft. The propulsion from those spacecraft, potentially 3 Russian Progress spacecraft, will be used to force the ISS out of orbit and aim it at the South Pacific Ocean uninhabited area around Point Nemo, the location in the ocean most distant from land. The remoteness makes it a frequent target for decommissioned spacecraft, with NASA calling it a spacecraft cemetery. The charred remains of an estimated 250 to 300 decommissioned spacecraft rest beneath the waters there. Huh. All right, everybody, it sounds good. Let's all jump in. Let's go. Let's go check that out. But yeah, really, Really cool. Road trip. So, can you imagine that's like the size of a football field? I think it's going to right into the ocean. The chances of early life on Mars faced a meteorite problem. Frequent meteorite collisions occurred on the red planet for 30 million more years than thought, a new study suggests. So they're basically saying that's what it might have, if there was any life at all, that's probably what happened to it. It got wiped that way. Early chances for life on Mars might have been diminished by meteorites. A new study suggests that the period of heavy cratering on the red planet and elsewhere in the solar system persisted 30 million years longer than that. Studies of the late heavy bombardment, as this period is called, also has my mouth is getting dry. Implications for the rise of life on Earth. So are they saying it's like panspermia kind of thing? The new study is largely based on a meteorite known as the Northwest Africa, or the NWA 7034, nicknamed Black Beauty. The meteorite includes part of the ancient crust of Mars during the period considered for study, which is nearly 4.5 billion years ago. Yeah. Well, that's one like the one they found in Antarctica as well, right? It might have been something that was from Mars to begin with, look, and that's what it looks like. Let's see. And you can see like different, I guess these are different rocks and stuff that they had. Black Beauty is about 4.45 or almost 4.5 billion years old, which has larger implications for the rise of life on Mars. Previously, a majority of studies suggested that the large meteorite impacts on Mars ceased 30 million years before that period, or roughly 4.85 billion years ago. So, early Mars was considered a warmer and wetter environment with a thicker atmosphere that may have allowed life to persist on the surface. Over the eons, however, the red planet lost most of its atmosphere and today is very arid. This is the reason why everybody's going up there, China and everybody else, right? So we want to see this like basically this dead orb. We're nothing there to see but dust. The amount of water available on the surface or underground today is highly debated. A study released just weeks ago, for example, suggests that a supported polar underground water reservoir may just be volcanic rock. Oh, now it's volcanic rock. Okay. Meanwhile, an independent study of NASA Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter images suggest water may have persisted on the surface longer than previously suggested, which I did read a while back, which makes sense. So, yeah. Again, one step forward, two steps back, every friggin' time. Frank Miklos, what's going on? Good to see you in there, man. Says, thumbs up, you got it. If you want my thumbs up, you got it. Oh, misheard. You broke it, you said? Yeah, I smashed the thumb up button. I broke it again. Man, that's not good. John Shop says, wish someone would thumbs up my Oldsmobile 1973-98. Oh, you get a thumbs up from me, brother. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That is awesome. Give me some old school any day. Yeah, there you go. Shina, kinda. Sounds like we're talking Russian now. Yeah. Valerian says, solar system space war. It actually looks that way. Between what we see on the moon, some of the things look okay. Looks perfectly fine. Same thing with Mars. Things look perfectly fine sometimes. Then you see things that look like they're knocked over and looks like the whole area's been decimated or something like that. So it's kind of like if you had a war here on Earth, and we've seen this plenty of times, whether it be satellite views or airplane views or whatever, and you see parts of a city look okay. Then the rest of it's completely decimated. So is it possible that's what we're seeing on the moon or Mars? I say yes, in my opinion. I really do. Eric Gowery said, Chris, that was definitely a spacecraft in that video, last video rather, clear as day. It's what it looked like to me. I mean, you could just see this thing as big as it is, and then the one on the left, same thing. Just really wild stuff there, right? Like I said, that's what I love about doing those moon videos. And it's like you get addicted to those because you don't know what you're going to find. Like a lot of times, well, it's the same thing with Mars too. That's why I love doing those too. Because you just don't know what you're going to find in there and what they're hiding in those as well. But if you just understand how they're centering it, whether it be the moon, which is entirely different compared to the Mars, if you look at those, you know exactly what to do to those photos in order to clear it up, or at least break it down to where you can see things with detail. Mars, those photos have no details because they're literally taking them out. So now you have to bring out the lines and outer shapes to those objects, or there's something there, but there's something more to it. It's bigger, but because of the manipulation, they take it out. So it's entirely two different things. So you got to know both way they center these photos in order to be able to break them down, which could be a challenge. Larry in the Mac says, got to charge up my TR3B. Let's go. Let's rock and roll. I thought the same thing, Ricardo. That makes perfect sense. You asked a great question. Hang on. Why is Mars not a runaway greenhouse gas planet like Venus if its atmosphere is 95% of CO2? Exactly. I said the same thing. I'm going, okay, I'm a little confused. Well, maybe because it's not 100%. It makes no sense to me. I know. But if it is mostly CO2, then again, they've already made in a small version something that can convert the CO2 to oxygen. So they'll just make a lot bigger versions of it. If that's the case, I don't believe it's as bad as they claim it is. Just like I think the air density is better. Just like the sky is blue and not red. Of course, they do claim that they never said that the sun, but the sky is not always red. They just say during dust storms. I'm going, okay. So you're saying 99.9% of the time you're taking pictures, it's always a dust storm? Come on. You know, nobody's going to believe all that mess. You know, is it possible they got some air flying around? You got a little dust, you know, some particles flying around and stuff. Yeah, but not to the point it's going to block out the sun like in this video I just put out today. Come on. Does anybody find that a little weird? I mean, you know, the way that picture looks. A brief snow shower will begin at 6:34. The snow will be light. See what's happening. It's like, don't care. John Schaub, Space 1999, drifted away from Earth. Yes, it did. Remember the explosions on the moon? Sent it off its orbit. Sees ya. Yeah, Josh, here's what we were just talking about. NASA just announced ISS will be used by them through 2030, after which commercial parties will take over, and they will like rent space for their science. Really? I don't know how they could do that. That thing's going to get unstable to some point and then fall out of orbit anyway. But if they do, that'd be even better. Oop, this thing just jumped on me here. I hate it when it does that. General Mian Putin says, we have brilliant engineers and scientists who build things, but astronomical and planetary scientists are some of the dumbest humans. Well, that's what they claim to be, like they don't know any better. Well, we'll just spew out the stuff right here. This is what's really going on. And they're probably really in the know, right? Matthew Luce, he said, love it when NASA makes claims about their search for possible traces of life, and Chris has exposed an entire civilization 10 minutes later. Well, I mean, they're telling two different things, right? We know what's really going on, and yet, and you can, here's the thing. Even if we didn't know what these objects were, let's say we're totally off beaten path, we don't have a clue what these things are. The point is they're being hidden. That's first and foremost. That should make you question it. But secondly, it's an object. It's not a rock. So what the hell is it? That's what makes you go, okay. One, they're hiding stuff. Two, it's something intelligently made. So, yeah. Johnny Half says, never a straight answer, NASA. That's a fact. Dragon City Demo said the buttes on Mars are not buttes. They are tremendous motherships that have eroded over millennia. I've seen things what they look like structures, but I believe they could be both. They're just being dressed up to look like buttes and mountains and hillsides, right? I also believe that they build into them, these buttes, because what better way to shelter yourself against solar radiation? Any kind of radiation type thing like that, right? Dirt is the best insulator, or pretty close to the best insulator you can have. So if you build inside a mountain, what's the chances of you, getting your house knocked over if you have this huge windstorm or dust storm? You're safe, you're good. And like I said, insulation from radiation. So, it's a win-win all the way around. But I believe that there are a lot of times that they're making these objects, whether it be spacecraft, structures, or any of that sort, mechanical, or piles of mechanical stuff, they're just putting like little mountains, or I've seen what look like an outcropping of rocks. And when you look at them close, you can see through them a little bit and you can see objects in them. So, yeah, they're just making anything rockified, if you will, and they're just using a rock mimicking software to cover all this stuff up. And it's evident because we found it time and time again. And we'll continue to find it. Oliver Klein says national airbrushing secrets away. Pretty much, NASA all the way. Hey, Patrick Owen, what's going on? Good to see you in there. He said Tiamat was involved in an intergalactic war. Mars was a moon of Tiamat and got damaged as Tiamat was destroyed. Well, that's what it's pretty much a story I heard where it was a moon to Tiamat. Now, I don't know how true that is, but that's the story. And it's a pretty interesting one if you think about it. And because, like I said, because of our moon got bombarded too at some point and probably took the brunt of a lot of, whether it be meteor showers or whatever. Maybe it's the same thing that happened to pretty much what happened to Mars, right? Along them lines, anyway. Mick Gustafsson, or Gustafsson. I'm saying Iffason, but it's not. Good evening, everyone. Hi, Chris. Glad to be here. Well, I'm glad you're here, Mick. Good to have you in there, man. Long Island, New York, he said, forget Ukraine. Punish Putin for hiding UFO knowledge the same way America does. Yep. Because these people go way back, and they've got their own secrets. Goes way back, like Soviet Union, way back, right? And probably prior to that, when it became Soviet Union. Oops. I love it when this thing jumps here. Oh, I didn't hear about that yet, Joss. You said they granted a Blue Origin contract to build a new commercial space station. Well, you could bet there'd be other countries involved, like kind of like if you look at it, they got like Russia and all different pods on the space station just added, right? So basically, that's what they are. And you can bet they'll have other countries helping out and getting in on it with them, which is cool. I think that's neat to be able to do that. Jerry Lahane, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Says thumbs upstairs and subscribe. Oh yeah, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Um, I just see her. Chloroform is good. What's going on? It's good. Well, if they are going to reuse it again, Long Island, New York, because like they're saying, they said they're going to reuse it, repurpose it basically for other people to take over and use for experiments or whatever, like kind of like what they're doing now. Only they'll be doing their own scientific research on there, right? But you said, I think we should keep the ISS. Why destroy it? Well, I mean, at some point it'll start to decay, meaning stuff will start to break down. And because it's out in space, we don't know how it acts towards wire harnesses or the equipment up there. At some point, everything will just start going to pieces, right? Gets beat up from the radiation and stuff like that. So I think at some point it'll have to be dismantled or either retrofitted with new panels or something, or they're going to have to junk it. One of the two, or three or four. Mick, you said Space 99 is awesome. Absolutely. Wish they'd redo that. That would be pretty neat. All right, Adam C. Great to have you in there, brother. And you have yourself a good weekend there, right? You said, great research, Chris. Take care. I'm off. Bye, everyone. All right, Adam. Have yourself a good one and be safe there, right? I think so, Ricardo. He said, so that means Mars could well have an atmosphere warmer enough and dense enough for life of some kind. I think so. If you think about it, there's water there. Now, there is brine. I think it's, well, at the time, I think they found more brine than anything. But we have sea life that lives in salt water. But if you were to couple that with more dense oxygen than they think, or more dense air and more oxygen, and of course, there is a blue sky there. So I don't believe it's entirely red all the time. And so you get the ingredients, you start putting them together. The temperatures can get up to 100 degrees Fahrenheit at the equatorial region in the summertime. Now, most of the time they say it could be like 60, maybe 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, that's more than warm enough for me. I'm good. I'm good to go. Now, if the air is thinner that they claim, then okay, you might have to again wear a breathing apparatus, some oxygen, to bring along with you. But if not, you're good to go. And they say the closer to the ground anyway, there'd be more likely more oxygen. And wouldn't that be weird if it was always like that? Let's say it was still like a greenish kind of lush planet, but everything was like most oxygen was to the ground. And this is the reason why, and I don't like thinking of it this way, but maybe this is a reason why there's a lot of little people or little objects. I don't know. But it would make kind of sense in a way that nothing would grow more than that. It would grow crazy on a short scale, like let's say something organic. It would grow really big or really full because of all that oxygen down further, but something that tries to grow even taller above the thinner oxygen, it just wouldn't live. Or it probably still would, because if you got, the base of the plant is in the really enriched oxygen, it should grow pretty wildly, right? But I don't know. I don't know. Leslie Ann, you said I haven't done any no videos yet. Going to do some diagrams of evidence my ideas, but been bed bound and makes me weak. Well, I'd like to see you get better, because that'd be cool to be able to see some of your work and stuff like that. But I do hope you do get better. Oh, it's the second Genesis. There you are. What's going on? I was waiting for you to pop in there. I said, hi, guys. What's going on? What is happening? TMT girl, like we asked John Chop. That was pretty good. Like, oh. Robert Kermit Cole. Kermit Cole, I'm sorry. Hate when that happens. Welcome aboard, man. Appreciate you. You said taking all of this in and enjoying it. New subscriber. Well, like I said, there's a couple other new people I want to welcome there. They've been jumping on board. I do appreciate you coming on. And if you're like-minded like we are, we just open to the possibility, and we've seen proof of what's on the moon, even if it's sometimes or a lot of times vague. We know the difference between a rock and something that looks intelligently made. So whether it be the moon, Mars, or other bodies in our solar system, we try to extract any information that's being hidden and we try to bring it out. And that's basically what it is. Of course, we're highly speculative because we can't vet any of it. But from what we've seen, yeah, this is what we've been talking about. It's like there's definitely life out there other than us, and there always has been. And like I tell everybody, we're part of something much larger. But yeah, I appreciate you jumping on board, man. That's awesome. Eric Gower said all countries going up to space because it's the next big economic engine. Well, yeah, because, at some point it's going to be the new thing, right? I'm sure all these big companies are gearing up going, hey, listen, we can have a hotel up on the moon, we can have it on Mars. And, of course, this is many, many years in the future. But they're cranking this up going, let's get geared up for this. I mean, we're doing this now, but let's get geared up for this in the future. So this way we're already ahead of the curve. So other companies, we can already just jump the gun before they even have a chance to say, hey, I'd like to build that project up on the moon or Mars. Yeah, let me do it. No, we're already ahead of you. So, or like you said, it's just part of making money. And I think that's going to be the wave of the future because you can see how it's accelerating, right? It's just constant. It's like boom, boom, boom. It's like compounding speed. It's like, let's get up here. Let's do this next one. Let's do this. It's like, what's going on here? Now, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people, that are going to be making money off this because they already want to make trips, just go into the lower atmosphere, come back down, charge you $100,000. You're up there for 6 minutes. Boom, have a great day. Off you go. And then, of course, they want to make, tours, if you will, around the moon and come back. That ought to be interesting. Of course, it'll be probably just a cool couple mil. I wouldn't worry about it. But, yeah, only the elites are going to be able to do that, I promise you. thing jumped on me again, but just about at the bottom here anyway. I guess I just... let me see. Matthew Lou said, welcome new guys and gals. Best channel and subscriber base around. Yeah, if you guys know other places, you know, just tell people, hey, check out this channel and, you know, check the channel out or check out the live feed. You know, it might be a lot of people, you know, on other channels similar to this. And, yeah, I mean, it's like, I like good conversation. Listen, I learned something new too, man. I mean, that's what it's all about. We're all on a learning curve and we all want information. We want to try to find the truth. Isn't that what this is all about? So, I like doing that. I like finding out something new. I like to find out new, you know, whether it be technologies that are out there and something I haven't heard about or really haven't gotten into a whole lot. In other words, you heard about it, but you really didn't do much about it, right? So, yeah. Now, this is kind of a no crap kind of situation. Mega constellations like SpaceX's Starlink may interfere with search for life by world's largest radio telescope. What did they think was going to happen? You have these things around the planet, and if you're trying to go in a certain direction, okay, let's go right around here, straight up. Oh, we can't. There's a bunch of cubes around the darn planet. What did they think was going to happen here, folks? Signals from internet beaming mega constellations partially blind radio telescopes, such as this square kilometer array, which is, I believe, in South Africa, isn't it? Yeah, the South African array of square kilometer array observatory, I'm sorry, will consist of nearly 200 dish antennas carefully arranged over a remote desert region. And so, yeah, I mean, what did they think was going to happen here? It's crazy. Let me see here. Why isn't that playing sound, though? That's kind of odd. That's all the way up, too. You see something here. Not playing any sound. That's playing sound. Boing, swing. Either way. What astronomers didn't foresee when they started planning SKAO in the 1990s was the arrival of internet beaming mega constellations such as SpaceX's Starlink broadband internet constellation. But even the existing, you know, astronomers, they didn't see that getting in the way. I don't get it, and nobody thought nothing of that. I find that a little odd. Epic radio images give most detailed views of distant galaxies. Oh, of course, that one plays. Let me see something here. Epic radio images give most detailed views of distant galaxies. Woohoo! The Hercules, a black hole, jets captured in a high-resolution image captured by the LOFAR radio telescope. The images revealed that the jet grows stronger and weaker every few 100,000 years. This, I don't know how they figured that out, but all right. This variability produced the structure of the jet, which is, it still says the LOFAR and Hubble Space Telescope. I don't know how they know this every 100,000 years, a few 100,000 years, but maybe they could see it kind of like, you know, doing its thing, going, you know, growing and shrinking. IR Films, he said, Chris, I'm currently working on Apollo 10 photos. What mission do you think are the best photos to play with? I don't know. I've seen 15 and 17 is pretty darn good too, man. You may want to check that out as well. Let's see. Mervyn Gravel, what's going on? He said, hi guys, just tuned. How's things? We're doing good there. Mervyn, hope you're doing well. John, Chris, with the Moon Rover V8? Yeah, I think it was a Hemi. The old wedge style. No, no, it was actually all electric. Four-wheel electric. Celestial magnetic. I don't think we need any kind of fuel to go to space. Now, it'll be a different propulsion, but once you, we really don't need any fuel anyway. Once you get out past the gravitational pull of Earth, you just shut everything down. And as long as you're on the right trajectory, you just go. Until, of course, you get to your destination. And, of course, you got to slow, get into a burn to be able to get into an orbit of a planet. But that's the only time you'll need it, once you've left Earth's gravitational pull. So, yeah. Ricardo. John Schaub, straight six, was it not? Oh, that's sad. Z Humble Pie, what's going on? Good to see you in there. I'm going to be on here just for a little bit longer because I got to blast out of here. I still got to go hit the store here. Get ready for tomorrow. Eric, I like that comment. Eric Howard says, that was when Giant Star fought. Godzilla did that. Poor guy. Too many beans. It happens. Jerry Haney said aliens use no rockets. No, they're not going to use rockets. It's going to be different propulsion, either anti-gravitics and all kinds of cool stuff like that. Not that trash, not fireworks like we use. Giant firecrackers. Ziobo Pie says, Chris, brother. What's going on, bro? Good to see you in there. Tim Houston said there is some discrepancy between stated figures for the neutral point of gravity between the Earth and the Moon. If you look it up, there is. There's actually different distances and all kinds of weird shit going on there. Great for All says the Pentagon and the U.S. Navy says that UFOs are, aliens are real. So what's the point of SETI? Well, they're trying to, well, you know how that goes. They're trying, the Navy and everybody's trying to say that these crafts are outerworldly, like the Tic Tac, right? It's outerworldly. It's not ours. How do they know that? Oh, because we couldn't build something like that. You could if it's not manned, because unless they perfected that, because again, we're talking 80 years they had to work with this stuff. So first you build a remote control, and then of course you put sensors in there, see what the G-force is like, see what kind of like constantly jerking of the body. Of course, a natural, if it has no way to offset the balance of G's, yeah, you're complete pizza. I mean, the second I think it takes off, you're a sandwich up against the wall. There's just no way around that. So if you were to build something that is like an anti-G kind of thing, and you could literally just go anywhere, just kind of like you see in Star Trek, or go to warp. You think your face would be like plastic against the wall. No, they're just like, and that's all you feel. It's just a slight G on there when they take off. And even then, it's barely, they don't even notice it. So it would have to be remote control first. Put sensors in there, kind of like what they do to cars when they test them, or crash test, right? They put all kinds of sensors and things like that. And of course, they put paint on these dummies, these crash dummies, and all kinds of stuff, and see what the G-force is, and you know how the airbags deploy. You know, it's the same thing. They want to test this thing out, and they probably have the anti-gravitics down, but they can't put a person there because it just would kill them. Now, have they perfected that part where you can actually put a human being in that? That is the huge question. I believe that thing's built right here on Earth. I do. And I think we have it. And even if we don't, somebody's got it, and I don't think it's otherworldly. I think it's ours. Now, I also believe there's other, obviously there's other civilizations out there. But as far as this Tic Tac thing, yeah. Oh, Miss Hurd, thank you very much for your support. I do appreciate you. That's awesome. And we get the pair give me a thumbs up. Oh, yeah. Thumbs up that bad whamma jamma. Celestial Magnetic, you said, thanks for everything you do. You are super smart, and I love listening to you. Amen, brother. It's nothing I don't know. There's a lot of other smarter people in here as well. The thing is, I think it comes down to, again, I'm learning too. So, and it's like yourself. If you're sitting back or you're trying to find answers, you're going to ask, and a lot of these folks here will be more than happy to answer the questions to the best of our abilities. Something we've researched ourselves, or that we currently know, we've studied or whatever. So, this is what I love about the people here. There's a lot of things I learn off here, and vice versa. So that's what makes it a cool bunch of people. A lot of people just listen to somebody who's doing it live, and they just, yeah, they're like, yes, men and women, yeah, yeah. No, I love it because people have a different mind here. They might say, Chris, I don't agree with you, man. I think it's this. No problem. I don't have a problem with that, because then it makes me rethink my thinking and say, let me look into that a little bit more. Maybe I'm wrong. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem with that. But we try our best. You know what I mean? We try to, divulge and talk about things we do know. Even if we're not spot on, we just try to, and if I'm wrong, I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at it. And maybe I'm just, or it's something I've forgotten over the course of time, right? So, yeah. So, but yeah, I'm glad you're here, man. I do appreciate you being here. And Miss Hurd, thank you. I keep wanting to say Miss Hurd again. Miss Hurd. General Meow Boon, I'm shouting disco in space. I don't know if you're going to hear that, but yeah, you can try. Jerry Lahane said he knows how to waste money, time, resources, like the government. Well, here's the thing. Are they wasting that money? Or is the government saying, kind of like, remember like in Contact, where she goes off, she disappears for what, is it 8 minutes or 11 minutes? She disappears. They said, what I find interesting is how that she disappeared for a second, but yet there was still 8 to 11 minutes on there. And they said, by the way, we're going to keep funding you. So SETI finds a signal out there, and it's legit, or maybe X amount over the course of time. Here you go, here's your money. You're proving to me that you can, what you told me you could prove. You said, I can prove that there's life out there. Okay, you've done it, here's your cash. You keep doing the research. That's all we care about. So they're going to constantly get funding, right? You know as well as I do they're going to do that. Do you think anybody would have done anything like subcontracted Elon if he kept having failures? You're going to always have failures in science. It's a given. But the fact that he finally got it pretty much down. Now, will you have an accident at some point every now and then? Sure. It's not like we didn't. Unfortunately, look what happened to the space shuttle. So, all because of a frickin' O-ring, at least according to what they said. Now, they would have never gave him a contract or subcontract him, and he wouldn't be doing a lot of these deliveries of goods and stuff like that to the space station if he kept failing. But what do? Constantly get better, right? So, and that's what it's all about. And, that's how they're getting money as far as SETI, yeah. But, you fail, but then all of a sudden you can prove yourself. Here's your grant. Have a good day. That's all it comes down to. Reverend Gravel, thank you very much for your support, sir. I do appreciate you. It's a great show. That's awesome. Matthew Luce, the same thing, man. I do appreciate you as well. That's awesome. High five. Alfie Joe Bob, thank you too. I do appreciate you. I like that. Wrecked. Oh, I love it. I've never seen that one before. That's great. That is awesome. You guys are great. I do appreciate you. That is awesome. You guys are too kind. Let's see. Mars the Second Genesis. Have you made anything newer lately? Because I haven't really been to your channel. Anybody wants to? I know I've seen what you have done, which is awesome. So anybody who hasn't checked out Mars the Second Genesis, that is the actual channel name. Go to that channel. Does fantastic work. Breaks down a lot of these, kind of like what I do here. But he'll break it down, especially if you're learning some of these things. He'll show you like in Photoshop and stuff like that. Now, I knew a couple friends of mine who went to school for this, and as far as Photoshop and everything else, and he would break down stuff, which is really cool. And of course, everybody's got their own little knack of doing things, but he finds some really cool stuff as well as doing some educational stuff. So you want to check out the channel. All hail Alfie. All hail. We're not worthy. Fracturian, what's happening? You getting in here in the tail end, but yeah. Still good to see you in there regardless. Cameron says, hey, Chris, got to eat dinner with family. Good stream as always. Have a great weekend. Stay safe out here and stay warm. You do the exact same thing. Cameron, thanks for being here. Enjoy your meal and say hello to the family there, right? Ricardo, is James calling you old? I'm not that old. Max K say, diversity and humility makes a great community. This is it. Have a great week all. Signing off, Chris. Thanks, Max K, for being here. I do appreciate you. Much love to everybody out there. And we're going to jump on off this bad boy, too. Because it's like, we always have a great time here. We always do. So, oh, let me put my leg down here. Sitting Indian style after a while. You're going, okay, I feel like the Tin Man, getting a little rusty. But, yeah, this has been another great hangout. If we just sat there and shot the breeze, folks, without showing a thing on the screen, it's just awesome. Because, again, we get to, the drink's definitely going to kill me. But it's just to come on here, and sometimes people say, have you heard of this? And it'd be something new for me to check into. So I find it really cool. And it's like we show different things. Now, like a lot of times we'll see something during the week, we can't wait to share it on a Friday, so that's what makes it more interesting. And a lot of times you guys are spot on because I'll go, I got a tab open for that. Or I was just talking about and thinking about that as well. So it works out really well. And it's like everybody brings these conversations and questions to the table, and it's just awesome to be able to go back and forth and bat it back and forth with you guys. That's what makes it interesting. That's what makes it cool. And like I said, we don't know everything. Never claim to, but there's a lot of knowledgeable people in here. I think I got a little bit of knowledge here to share. So combined, everybody learns something new. Even the newcomers, I appreciate you being here. Spread the word. It's a great channel. We got great people here. And like I said, be open-minded, but be skeptical as well. That's what I like. Like I said, it's usually not synonymous together, but you know what I'm saying. It's like, be open-minded to the possibility, but not to go way overboard and go, yeah, I believe everything I hear. No, that's not true. But, so it's a great community here, great bunch of people. We have a great time, great laughs. Some of the things were great here today. And we just have a great time. And nobody gets beat up in here like some people just for saying something opposite, unless, of course, they're a troll. But there's nothing silly about a question you may have that's legit. Like you might ask something and go, I hate to ask this question because I'm kind of afraid, but honest to goodness, opinions, or they'll say, well, you may be a little off base, or you're spot on, and they'll try to help you out. So that's what I find awesome about this great bunch of people. So let me see. Yeah, Captain Solo said, looking forward to the next one. Yeah, absolutely. Check out the videos when you can. We've got a bunch of them. And folks, been here for 10 years. We started this in 2012. Think about that. Started in 2012, up to this point, 10 years. That's insane. I was thinking about that today. I was going, oh my God. I just thought of that. That's awesome. But anyway, guys, going to jump on off this thing. Got some things to do. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Thank you all you fine folks for your support. You're awesome, and much love to everybody out there. And again, thank you for everybody for your comments, your questions, suggestions, whatever. We're here to help each other and find out the truth, and just to throw around the BS as far as space news and different things. Heck, we've even talked about cars and stuff. Good God, we can go on for hours about that alone. From anything we've talked about, COVID and all this other BS and the crap which people would rather not talk about, and I don't blame this. But the thing is, we're well diversified. We can talk about just about anything. I don't care. So it works for me, and it works for everybody else out here. But anyway, I'm going to just sign off. I want to say much love to everybody. We'll give it 10 more minutes. You guys can hang out for another 10 minutes. If you haven't gave me a thumbs up, please do so. It helps to get this video out once it's on YouTube. So I appreciate everybody out there. Much love to everybody. Have a great weekend. Be safe. And if you're sick, I hope you get better and everything works out for you. And we'll talk to everybody soon. Peace. Just jump in there real quick. Thank you, Captain Solo. I do appreciate you. You said game over. Yes, we're out of here. Have yourself a good one. Like I said, I do appreciate you. Thanks for the support. You're awesome. We'll see you guys next time.